This is tutorial 6-2 in GIS tutorial workbook 3. In this tutorial, we're going to be creating toolbar scripts. Now, this will introduce us to Python script. This is just an introduction to it. If you really want to get into this stuff, you're going to need to buy like separate books and probably multiple ones to fully understand Python. It's pretty easy to learn, but to really know all its capabilities and all the tricks, it's going to take some research and some reading. So this is just to get you to know what it can do. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to our programs, ArcGIS, Python. You might have Python 2.6, which is fine. Just click on this idle. And when this opens, you want to go to File, and you want to go to New Window. And in here, we're going to start creating our script. Now, the book tells us what to write. And whenever you put this number sign, the pound, it means that this is there just as like a reference. It does not run. It's basically for whoever opens this up to be able to kind of read it and know what's going on. So we're just going to type what they tell us to. And it's very important to watch your spelling, especially when you're doing the actual tools. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to be showing them where they're going to be getting some of their information. But first, we got to give a descriptive. Now you can see now I am not putting the pound, and that the color of the text has changed. So this is the action, this is the subject. Make sure that it's ARCPY. A few times when I ran through this the first time, I put CR and it ran into problems. So be careful when doing this. Now we're going to set our workplace location. And once again, it's very important to get the spelling right, because if it's wrong, you're going to run into errors. This might be different if you have your geodatabase in a different location. Mine's in the C drive and it has a repress folder. If you have like your Esri Press folder inside another folder, you have to put the folder before Esri Press. Then they want you to look up the syntax for this tool that we're going to be doing, the Fishnet. And that kind of tells you what you need. So go into the book or go into help and kind of like look at what the parameters are and everything like that. Next, we're going to add the variables. Have it the single quote mark, not the double quote. Now, by putting this pound key here, what we're saying is that this is an optional variable, so it can be whatever they choose to. So right now it's not requiring an actual value, so that's why. And you can only do this to optional variables. Okay. Now, as with everything we do, right as we have this set up now, the out feature class will be called PleaseGrid. But if you use this tool a second time, you're going to have a problem because you're going to have a feature with the same name, and that can create a hassle. So what we're going to do is we're going to make it where the person using it has to get set the parameter. And this 0 is telling us the order in which it asks things. You'll see later on what that is, what that truly does. And now what we're going to do is add the actual Fishnet command. After each comma, I would put a space. I'm not sure if it will work or not without a space. I did it with a space and it worked, so if it works, go with it. And the book doesn't show it like this. They show it as 3 lines. That's not necessary, so if it just keeps going to the right, you're still doing it right. Now what we're going to do is we're going to save this. We're going to go up to File, Save, and what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go to your C drive, as you press, GIST3, scripts, and you're going to want to have this labeled Create Fishnet. Now don't hit Save, do dot and Y and make sure that the save type is Python file. And save. And now we can close both these windows. And we can open up ArtMap. We're going to open up tutorial 6-2. And we're going to open up our catalog in here. And we're going to make sure that Toolboxes over here is brought down. And we're going to right click on My Toolboxes. We're going to go to New and add a new toolbox. And we're going to name it Police Tools. And we're going to right click on it, go to Add, and Script. And here we name it, we label it, and give it a description. And make sure you click Store Relative Pathnames, then we go to the next. And this is where we browse to our Fishnet. Then we browse again, or I mean click Next again. And this is the display name. What we're going to type here is new file name. And data type, we're going to change to any value. Now, the new file name is going to ask us for the output name. And you can see that the type is required and direction is input. They want you to make note of that. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to double click on our police grid. And as you can see, now it asks us for a name. Police grid 01. click OK. Now, it says here that there was an error, so we're going to go in and see if I accidentally put a RC or ACR somewhere I should not have. I forgot to put a P there. So this is a little tip, and this is why it's best to go slow. So we're going to close this, close that. We're going to edit. And in here, we're going to try to find out where. And I forgot to put a P there. I'm going to just check the other ones just to be sure that has the P in it. For some reason, it's always that one. If I go to File, Save, try that again. Police Grid 01. In Fish Management, I forgot an E. This is why it's best to go slow and steady. Hopefully, third time's the charm. Okay. The reason that was like that was because I had a capital O over here. And when I wrote it over here, it was a lowercase o. So it did not acknowledge that as the value. So we're going to go to File, Save. These are actually helpful things because they might affect you, and hopefully now. It succeeded. So I had a few errors, but that was mainly for me from rushing. And they're common errors, so it could help when you do it. So we're going to go in here, and up here we see Police Grid 1 in our City of Olander geodatabase. Now zoom out, and there we go. Now what we're going to do is we're going to customize our toolbar, because say we're going to be using this a lot. So we're going to go up to customize mode. We want to go down to commands, let all of them load, go all the way down to geoprocessing tools and add tools. And we are going to select the police grid tool. So we're going to go to toolboxes, my toolbox, and police tool, and click right there. And they want us to put this tool right near our full extent. We're going to close. And they want us to right click this right here. Oops. Make sure your customized box is still open so we can still edit these things. And they want us to change the name up here to create police grid. and change it to image and text. And change the actual image. So change image, and if we want to, let's see, is there anything that's grid-like? Nope. I'll just put this little dog here, little police dog. And we're done with this now. So when we want to use our tool, it just opens like that. Okay, now we're going to enhance our script, because if this is all they wanted, we'd be set. But they might want to change some things. So what we're going to do is we're going to right-click on this, go to Edit, and take note we're working in Notepad. These changes will still work, just as you see me did when I fixed my errors. Now we want to start putting things in right after we set the workplace environment. And we always have to do like a little descriptive of what we're doing. And we want to define variable to accept new user input. And we want cell size equal and this is where we put the 1, and I'll show you later on what it did. This pretty much ranks it on how it's displayed in the actual tool. Okay. Now, what we have to do is we have to make cell size count for cell size width and cell size height. So these guys we're going to get rid of and just put cell size. We're going to go to File and Save. We're going to X out of here. We're going to right click on our police grid, go down to Properties, go to Parameters, and in here we're going to name the cell size. And over here we're going to do any value. Once again, required input. We come up here. Let's put in police grid number 2. And they want a cell size of 660. Click OK. It's succeeded. We're going to go add it. It's in the one for my answers. Okay, and police grid number 2. And as you can see, it's both the squares are larger and it exceeds higher. But now that it exceeds kind of the area, we can limit the number of columns and rows we have, because when we had smaller ones we needed more columns because obviously they didn't cover as much distance. So we're going to go in and we're going to make it to where we can choose how many columns and rows we have. So we're going to go back into Edit, and up here we're just going to right click and I'm just going to put rows equals, and then you can just copy and make that 2. Columns. By doing this, you're less likely to make a mistake typing it, because if you don't capitalize something you're supposed to, you can run into problems. And down here now, we're going to get rid of those numbers and put rows. Make sure you spell it exactly like you do up here, or you're going to run into problems. And then columns. Go up to File, Save, right-click, go back into Properties, Rows, any value, columns, any value, click OK. We use our little police dog one up here, and now we can input all these things. And that's it for this tutorial. So you can go in and change the name, cell size. You can screw around with the rows and column numbers if you want. And that's it.